Hello, hello, and welcome back to Transform. I am so excited to be back for more pregnancy chat. I feel like my Instagram DMs have just been blowing up in the best way with so many of you guys who are also pregnant, trying to get pregnant, have your first baby, sending me the cutest baby selfies. Like my baby fever is at an all-time high. I don't think it could get higher, actually. But there's been such an influx of questions. So I am here to chat through it all. And one of my biggest goals with our community and just this amazing conversation that I get to have with you guys through every phase of life, but really within this pregnancy, is to be so vulnerable, to share my journey, to relate to you in any way. And I think every time I share, no matter what it is in life, but something I've really felt so far in pregnancy is I feel so seen and you feel so seen. And I really love that this conversation can be a bridge for us to connect even deeper. So thank you for being here today. I'm excited to chat through a lot of your questions. We had so many questions, so I sifted through and really am going to hit on some of the big ones that I have been getting asked a lot. So I hope that you have so much to take away from today's episode. And just starting at the top, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a pregnant girl who's really tired and really hungry and here to share my experience. So I love you, but of course, always consult with your OB before doing anything that I'm doing. And I love you and I'm sending so much love. And no matter where you're at in your journey, I know that there's going to be something that we get to bond over. So thank you again for being here. Okay, let's get into the first question. Tell me everything about your supplements. Oh, y'all. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm popping like 20 pills a morning. And even before I get into the supplements, for me to do that, a lot of you have asked how I'm even able to take pills. It is a moment in time where I'm truly like, okay, you're going to swallow these suckers. You're going to get them down and you're not going to puke. You will not puke. I have my big old water. Y'all know I always have my handy dandy water bottle, emotional support water bottle. And what I do is I try to take, knowing that there's about like 15 to 20, I try to take a few at a time. I think when you try to take like 10 at a time, you're going to make yourself sick. So it takes me longer, but I'll do like 2 or 3 at a time. And I try to do the ones that like taste best together. Like all of my ritual ones have the same scent. So I'll do those together. Just little things like that have been helping. Okay, so in terms of what I am taking the ritual prenatal. So that's really for all of your basics. It has your folate, your iron, vitamin D, omega-3s, which are also great for your baby's development. I started taking rituals prenatal way before I started trying. I was taking it for probably 6 months before I even started trying. I'm also taking Rituals omega-3, so that supports the baby's brain and eyes, and it also helps a lot with your mood. They just launched a new natal biotic, and that is actually for my digestive health. So your microbiome actually changes when you're pregnant and after you've had a baby. So this supports the microbiome for moms and babies as well, and moms to be. So if you're pregnant, if you just had a baby, and also your baby's health. I'm taking Heart and Soil's beef organs. I swear they don't taste as bad as they sound, but that is the real food iron from the beef organs. And it also has B vitamins, so that helps with energy and also with healthy blood. I'm sure if you're following a lot of pregnant people, they talk a lot about their iron levels, and mine have been great. And I have Heart and Soil beef organs to thank for that. I'm also taking Pure Encapsulations B complex. So that is just for extra folate. You get enough folate in Rituals prenatal, but I take that for more folate, and it also has B12 for energy, stress, and fetal growth. I'm taking Now's wheat germ oil. That is absolutely an extra, but that is for your joints. So if your joints start to hurt, this is something that will really help there. Also helps add folate and choline for the baby's brain. Also taking Rituals choline, which is, again, key for the baby's brain, memory, and your liver health. I take CoQ10, which boosts cellular energy and supports your placenta's health. I also started taking CoQ10 when we were trying. And something I've taken forever is turmeric. I have a lot of inflammation, so it's been helping a lot being this anti-inflammatory supplement. So that is the long list. We will link those all in the show notes. I know this is something that I get asked all the time. And I also get asked about my supplement dispenser. And I got it from a company called LES Collection. It is a little bit of a splurge. It's this beautiful marble supplement container that has a spot for every day. But the reason I splurge on it is because I learned in Atomic Habits when I read that years ago, if you see it, you do it. And my supplements are something I don't necessarily want to do. So the fact that I get to see them on my counter every morning really remind me that I need to do them. And in this beautiful marble container, it helps. Okay, my next question. Did you do genetic testing before trying? Okay, this is a funny one. So most of y'all know I'm Jewish. Andrew's also Jewish. So I did 23andMe back before, I think they're like bankrupt now, but I did 23andMe in high school. And my results came back as 99.9% Ashkenazi Jew. And I'm like 0.01% broadly European, whatever that means. And Andrew did Ancestry, and his is 99.5% Ashkenazi Jew. So we are purebred Ashkenazi Jews. Like, we are so Jewish. And if you know anything about genetics, it's not really helpful to have the same genetics. So we absolutely did genetic testing before we started trying. I did that through my OB, and it came back. So you can be a silent carrier of things. Andrew and I both had little things, but they weren't the same. So we were good to go there. Some other things I did before trying and getting pregnant were I went to Kind Body, which is a chain of a woman's health practice. And I tested my AMH. And then I also tested my follicle quantity and the follicle quality. So that was just simple blood work. And I think it took like 1 to 2 weeks. And your AMH really helps give a number towards your fertility. I don't know the specifics. I just know if it's too low, that's not good. And if it's too high, that's not great. Too high means it's like PCOS. And mine came back right in the middle. So that was a really great call to get before we actually started trying. That's something that you don't necessarily need to do. I would say for all of this, I am absolutely one who does the most. So take this for what it is and do what feels right for you. Something else I did was my Function Health blood work. Y'all know I love Function, but one of my favorite things about it is that it actually goes into your woman's health hormone levels. So once I did that, it was all good. There was nothing I needed to work on there. So that was really, really helpful. And Function's amazing. We actually have a code with Transform if you want to try it and get your blood work done. It's my favorite gift to give my family. Andrew does it. It's a really great check-in. Okay, and then the last thing I did, which wasn't necessarily for trying to get pregnant, but just a really great preventative, very extreme measure, was Prenuvo. So Prenuvo is an advanced MRI that goes all over your body. So you're doing a whole body MRI, which is something that you cannot do pregnant. So it's something I did before. And everything came back normal, except I did find something in my brain. And because I found something in my brain, I ended up doing a few other MRIs just on my brain, and everything came back great. So it's just something that I'll need to watch over the years. But if something did come back that was going to require any sort of surgery, I wanted to make sure and feel so good about the next steps before getting pregnant. So I remember we got our clean bill of health after the couple of MRIs that I did, and just gave me the confidence I knew I needed, that I felt really healthy in my body. Okay, next question. How to stay patient and positive while trying for a long time. Oh my goodness, this is honestly such an important conversation to have, and a conversation that I'm having with so many people I love so dearly. And I want to start by saying that everyone's journey is so different and we cannot compare. Earlier this year, I chose my word for the year, which is something Sami and I do every single year. Last year it was gratitude, and this year it was actually trust. And what's interesting is when I chose the word trust, I wasn't necessarily understanding how deeply I was going to need the trust until I started trying. I would say trying to get pregnant has stretched my patience and my positivity more than anything in my entire life. And I can totally relate if you are on the listening end of this in a place where you are trying month after month after month. And genuinely just want you to know, hand over heart, like I'm holding so much space for you. There's no words. It's so consuming. It takes over all of your thoughts. And I've been there. And in choosing this word trust for this year, I really leaned on that when it came to trying to get pregnant. And I had to trust my body, trust that my body knew what it was doing. I had to trust that my baby was on its way. I had to trust the universe and just God's plan in this way that it's so much bigger than anything we can control. I had to trust the timing within that. And I think the biggest thing I had to trust was that every month that I was not getting the result that I wanted, that was actually bringing me closer to the result that I was praying for. So again, I'm so with you if you are in this journey. And I really am going to encourage you to trust the process and do that internally. You can't compare externally. This is your journey and it doesn't look like anyone else's. And trust that your body knows what to do. I mean, it's such a miracle. Like holding life within is the craziest thing. So just trust that your body knows exactly what to do and trust the timing of exactly when it's supposed to happen for you. Okay, next question. Any unexpected things in pregnancy? Oh my gosh. I mean, the first one off the bat is how quickly my body changed. I am on some sort of TikTok algorithm where it's showing me women at 20 weeks who are like, where's my bump? My bump is not here yet. And this is again where you cannot compare because there is such a spectrum. Y'all, I was bumping at 8 weeks. All of the jeans were removed from my closet at 8 weeks. I have not worn anything with a button in so long. And I don't know. I think for me, that was kind of unexpected of how quickly my body and my belly grew. And that's something that I actually really love and honor. But it's so different for everyone. Something else that was really unexpected was how low my energy really was. And I think we hear that left and right, but oh my goodness. I mean, I'm a co-founder of a fitness platform. I take so much pride in my non-negotiable of movement every single day. And y'all, there was zero movement. I was stuck on a corner of my couch for months. And we have all these amazing prenatal resources and programming with Kaylin in the app. And I'm so grateful to now be 14 weeks and feeling so much better. And I'm in the thick of her programming. But that entire first trimester, I'd be lucky to get outside to go for a walk. I also don't think the Austin heat was helping. I definitely just did not want to be a part of any of that. But yeah, that was unexpected for me, how low my energy really was, and then how crazy my cravings were. I could not eat anything, and I'm such a foodie, like I'm such an adventurous eater, and when I tell you all I ate were bagels, matzo balls, and pizza, sourdough. Like the craziest thing was granola with milk and a blueberry because a blueberry is so healthy. But yeah, y'all, there's a lot of unexpected twists and turns, and that's kind of been the beauty of it, of really realizing like, wow, the lows are low and the highs are so high. Okay, next question. Did you use anything like an app to track when you were trying to get pregnant? Okay, I have a hot take for y'all. If you are trying to get pregnant and you are not using ovulation strips, or you're using ovulation strips where you just pee and like a color comes up, I don't want to have to guess. I was trying for a really long time and using ovulation strips that I think were kind of doing me dirty, to be honest. And my friend Ansley gave me this recommendation for this device on Amazon called a Nido. And a Nido is basically this like mini computer that you put on your phone. So you put in like what size phone you have, and that's the one it sends alongside ovulation strips. So what I would do is pee on those strips, and then it takes 10 minutes. You open up the app and you put in the strip to the little computer attached to your phone. You can get all of this on Amazon. And Anito reads the strip for you, and it does it to such a science. It gives you the number for your LH, for your progesterone, for your estrogen, like literally the amount. And then at the top, it'll tell you after 10 minutes of analyzing your strip, it'll say something like low fertility, high fertility, peak fertility, and then waiting for progesterone to rise, which would then be the last result of ovulation confirmed. So the month that we got pregnant, it was, I mean, y'all, I literally got pregnant on my birthday, on my 30th birthday. Best birthday wish ever. I always said I wanted to be pregnant by 30, and we manifest things here. So again, trusting the timing. So I have my little Anito device and I pee on my strip and it said peak fertility. So I was like, Andrew, come on, we're getting busy over here. And it's so interesting because then I kept testing after ovulation was confirmed, and what do you know, it worked. So highly, highly, highly recommend this Anito device with the app. It just takes all the guessing out of it. But I also think like if you don't want to be that involved of the science, then it's not for you. So again, to each their own, and check in of what is for you. Okay, next question. How has traveling been while pregnant? So I would say I have definitely a new take on traveling. Y'all know I love to travel, but right now my travels are the needs, the big yeses, nothing out of obligation. So I did my Sedona trip with Sam to Miami, which was our best friend founders retreat type trip. Such a yes. And I also knew going in that I'm in my first trimester at that point, and it's the type of place where you just live in a robe the whole time. So that was such a yes. And then we just did our form trainer retreat in Montana at Pause Up, which is my happy place, my home away from home, and somewhere I'm so comfortable. So that was also such a yes. Traveling's not difficult. I would say my biggest thing with traveling is being away from Andrew. And I know that sounds so silly. I hope he listens to this because it'll be such a brownie point for me. But I'm so addicted to Andrew right now. I'm so obsessed with him and I'm like completely codependent. I really like cannot be away from him right now. So he's actually in China right now for business and he's so cute. He's working with Nicole to like send me treats every day and we get to FaceTime a couple times a day based on the time zone. But that separation, I would say, is the only hard part. And also being away from my pregnancy pillow, which I am completely in love with and love to cuddle with. And obviously I cannot travel with because it's the size of my body. Okay, next question. And this is one that is so close to home. How have you felt about your body changing in pregnancy? All right, y'all. I'm going to be so real. It's put me on a roller coaster. The first thing I want to say is that it is extremely healing after having such a big weight loss journey and being so disciplined for so long to be in such a soft era. It is so healing. It is so healing to look at my body and honor it for growing, to look at my big old belly and say, thank you, what a blessing this is, versus how I used to look at my belly when I was really overweight and on my weight loss journey. But it's also come with some real moments of trying to get dressed and nothing fitting, putting on my leggings that I'm used to wearing every single day and feeling uncomfortable and nauseous within my own skin, going in my closet and not really having any options. So what I've actually done is actioned a lot of that because I want to honor where I'm at right now and I want to feel so good in my body, and I do, but it's kind of the clothing thing that has triggered me into feeling certain ways. So I moved all of my jeans out of my closet, as I said, and I've actually started purging so many clothes that, fit me in an era of so much discipline that I don't really know if that's in my future. And if it is again, if that is my jean size a few years from now, I can buy new things. I don't need to hold on to things to expect that those are going to fit me anytime soon. So I've been purging a lot. So my Poshmark is about to pop off, fam. I'm warning you now. There's going to be a lot of goodies on Poshmark. And I've started buying really comfy things. I'm obsessed with these Lisette sweatpants that have no waistband. It's just a drawstring, but no waistband, because anything with a chunky waistband is really uncomfortable for me right now. I love, like, even this sweater I'm in right now, Jenny Kane. It's all intentionally oversized. And I have been living in all my Jenny Kane sweaters. And I've been loving Daydreamer t-shirts. So they have really soft graphic tees and they're cool, right? Like I get my favorite bands on these t-shirts, and Andrew's actually loving them too. And we're sharing them. And on the Andrew front, I'm actually wearing a lot of his button downs. And I've been loving the woman's Gap button downs. They're really affordable. I would say Gap and J. Crew have been amazing for me. And it's one of those things where, yeah, like I'm working out in sweats. I'm going for big walks in sweats. And we're just purging anything that's making us triggered or feeling lesser than, that isn't honoring this beautiful season of my body growing for everything I've always prayed for. So, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say it hasn't been challenging, that there haven't been moments where I look in the mirror and I'm like, holy shit, you changed so quickly. Or maybe looking at old content of myself and photos and videos where everything about me looks different. But I am so grateful and I'm so blessed to be changing with this purpose and to be bringing life into this world. And you know what? I love that quote that talks about how no one's going to be talking about how skinny you were at your funeral. But you know what people are going to be talking about at your funeral? How amazing of a mom you are, how much your kids love you, all of those types of things. So, yeah, it's been really healing, but it's been tough. There's been some tough moments, and really coming back to my highest self of being as self-loving as possible through it all. Okay, next question. What was the really big scare that you had in your first trimester? Okay, so on Instagram, I shared this really lightly that Andrew and I got some really great news after having a really challenging moment. And by moment, I mean 2 weeks of my living nightmare. I want to start by saying that it was actually a false positive and that everything is okay now. More than okay. It's perfect. Everything is so great now. So I want to start by saying that everything worked itself out, but we were deeply, deeply challenged for a while. Um, I was spiraling and spinning for weeks. So Andrew and I did our NIPT test, which is a blood test that takes your DNA, the mom's DNA, or your blood for like the maternal DNA, but that also includes the placental and fetal DNA. And our OB, it's like very normal. She said, yeah, like everyone basically does NIPT at this point. But now I feel like I literally have my master's degree in NIPT. It actually just became mainstream in 2011, so it hasn't been that long. My parents never did it for us. It's just not as common as I was told it was. So with NIPT, my personal understanding was that it would test my blood and come back to ensure that our baby was not carrying anything that was not compatible with life. So again, to each their own with even doing NIPT. So I'm in Sedona and I'm on that girls trip with Sam. And she had actually, it was our last day, and she had just left to go to the airport. And I'm on a solo hike in the most beautiful area. I mean, I was on a mountaintop, just breathing in the mountain air. I was so calm, so relaxed, so happy. And at this point, I'm 10 weeks pregnant. So I had done an IPT at 9 weeks and 2 days, which was also on the earlier side. And I got a call from my OB, and I was so confident, and I answered it. And I could tell that I could just tell in her tone that something was off. So before she started really like going through the results, we called in Andrew. We had a 3-way call, and she basically like went through all the trisomies that come back from your NIPT and that one of them came back atypical. And as someone who has no scientific background and is a first-time mom and didn't really even, to be so honest, understand what NIPT was testing, I went into a really dark place. And the biggest problem, I would say, in that moment was not only that I was alone on a mountain, but our OB couldn't she, like, legally was not allowed to give us any consultation on it. So from that point forward, she said, "You're now high risk, and you will need to meet with an MFM, a maternal fetal medicine doctor, and they're gonna also refer you to a genetic counselor." So getting that news was shattering. I just didn't know how to hold it. I didn't know how to move forward. I was completely operating from such a place of fear and worry. And if you listen to my first pregnancy episode, I shared a quote that got me through, and that is, "Worry is just a negative prayer." And I believe that. I think worry truly is a negative prayer. And the more that you worry, the more negativity you're pouring into something. And that worry is also robbing you from the joy and celebration that you deserve to feel. So in that very moment, it was all worry. It was all fear. I immediately called the MFM alongside Andrew. And at this point, again, I'm 10 weeks. And they said the very earliest we can see you is 11 weeks and 2 days. So we got the appointment for that day. They said they didn't have one. And I hysterically cried until they had one. And they also started going through the options. And again, this was just so challenging. The genetic counselor was also going through all the options. And honestly, in hindsight, I think the more information that I was receiving was not helping. Understanding what all the options are when most of them didn't actually pertain to me was sending me down a deep spiral. So in hindsight, a big learning for me is that more information is not necessarily helpful, and that I just needed to trust and have really, really deep faith in what I knew to be true, and trust in my partnership with Andrew that I knew we were going to get through it, and the conversation with the life that I'm carrying of no matter what it is, we got you and we got this. So fast forward, we have our appointment 11 weeks, 2 days, so a week and a half after. And the first thing our MFM said was, "I want to retest your NIPT." And if you've done NIPT and you're listening, my first one was with Natera. And then the second one we did was with a company called Myriad. And I guess Natera is known for having a lot of false positives. So, and not only that, but that I also could have been too early at 9 weeks, 2 days, and that they also were doing a lot of other blood, and they could have done my blood for Natera on the latter half when it should have been the first vial that they took. So the first things first, my MFN said, before I give you anything to lose sleep at night with, let's retest and let's use Myriad. It is going to take another week to 2 weeks to get these NIPT results from this other company, Myriad. By this time, it had already been weeks, so whatever we had to do. So we retest that day, and 6 days later, I get a phone call. I'm walking the trail in Austin alone. I spent a lot of time alone, a lot of time journaling, a lot of time talking to family. I only told a few friends. It was just a really private thing that we were navigating. And I get this call from the MFM on the trail, and it's a nurse named Haley, and she sounded really chipper. And for anyone who's in the medical industry, oh my gosh, I'll remember Haley and her name and her voice for the rest of my life, because the energy that she started the call with was like the warmest blanket that I could feel. And I immediately told her, "Hey, I'm alone. The last time we had a call, I was alone with my OB with news like this. So I'm going to have my husband come pick me up, and then can we call you back?" And she said, "Absolutely." I call Andrew. He comes and picks me up from the trail. And we're in the car. We parked on the side of the road. We call Haley back with the MFM, and she, again, with her chipper spirit, she goes, "It's all negative. Your baby is perfect. I am so sorry you had to deal with that. You are no longer going to need to do amniocentesis. You no longer need to do a CVS." Just like all of these things that were all of these options that we were being consulted on that honestly didn't even feel like we even wanted to do because we had such trust and faith in our baby and its health and the love that we knew we could support whatever we were going to hear. So that was the news. That was the journey. And oh my goodness. I mean, I think there's a lot of conversation about the challenges of getting pregnant, which absolutely deserves so much space to be heard because there are so many challenges and such journeys to get pregnant. But what I've also realized is that there's also a whole slew of what happens once you are pregnant. And oh my gosh, I feel like I hold my breath before every doctor's appointment, before every phone call. And I'm just constantly reminding myself that worry is just a negative prayer and that I deserve to feel joy and celebration and that anything that happens, Andrew and I can handle alongside our baby. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have gotten that news. And if anyone's listening who's navigating something similar, I cannot tell you how challenging it was, but I also cannot tell you how proud I am for the trust that I kept. And yeah, it was really dark there for a bit, but we found the light. And yeah, I think like, if you've dealt with anything similar, my DMs are always open and I'm always here to have such deep chats with you guys. If you are going through anything during your pregnancy that is causing you to worry and have so much fear, um, I'm so here and I'm so sorry because that was a lonely time. That was the hardest couple of weeks of my life. It's interesting. I kept comparing it to my mom's death, which I always thought was like the biggest tragedy of my life. And I think to that point it was. But when my mom died, it was so like done and final. Whereas with this news, there were so many options and so many things and so much science. And I was just completely distraught. And I honestly have never seen Andrew like that either. So yeah, I'm just sending so much love and holding so much space. If you have any scares, if you've already had scares, if you have a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old and during your pregnancy you had a big scare, I'm just sending so much love. Truly so much love. Okay, let's transition into a more fun question here. How many kids do y'all want? So, Andrew and I both have a brother. So, I have my brother Frankie, he has his brother Matthew. And I feel like we both know what it's like to be one of two. And something that is also really amazing that we're so fortunate for is we're both best friends with our brothers and each other's brothers. So, our little quad of me and Frankie and Matthew, we're really tight. And it's amazing to be one of two when you are best friends with your sibling, but I also have so many friends who are one of two and they're maybe not as close with their sibling. So for Ange and I, it's definitely at least two. But hey, I'm loving this so much. I could see us on land with a whole freaking slew of kids. Andrew's gonna kill me. I could totally have like 6 kids and 10 doodles and be like the happiest girl in the world. Why am I crying thinking about that? If you're watching on YouTube, I literally have tears in my eyes. I just think that this is like such a big purpose of mine. And being a mom and leaning into motherhood is something that really is the whole point for me. So we'll see. Cheaper by the dozen Spalter edition coming soon. But I don't know. Yeah, being one of two is perfect in my own way because I had nothing to compare it to. But yeah, I could really see us having a whole cheaper by the dozen situation. So stay tuned. Oh my gosh, I'm wearing a necklace that says 13. I'm just realizing that. It's my lucky number. Watch me have 13 kids. Uh-oh. Just kidding. Ballerina farm, respect, but damn. Damn. Okay, name ideas. Names are my Roman Empire. Baby names are seriously my Roman Empire, and I think I'm also really good at them. So if you're debating baby names, DM me because I would love to play. I feel like my entire TikTok algorithm right now are baby names. So we actually chose a specific name for a specific gender a long time ago. It's actually a really beautiful story. So before my mom passed away, I knew Andrew and I were engaged at the time, and I knew my name was gonna be Sami Spalter, and I loved that my name was Sami Bernstein before, so I loved that I was marrying into alliteration, that I was gonna have this SS moment, and I remember talking to my mom, like, "I really love those initials, and I would love to keep that going, at least for the first one." So we were always brainstorming S names, and she thought of one that immediately we were just like, "That's it. That's it." Um, but it is very specific to being a girl, and we shall see. And it's also something that just honors her so beautifully, so I'm really excited to hopefully get to use that. And also in Judaism, a big tradition is to name your kids after your family members who have passed. So Frankie and I are both named after our family members who died in the Holocaust. And everyone in my family is named after someone with like huge symbolism. And I think that's such an honor that I'm really excited to continue. And if you don't know, my Bubby and Sadie, my mom's parents, my grandma and grandpa, which is Bubby and Sadie, they passed away earlier this year, a month apart, and we buried them together on Valentine's Day of this year. And I really want to honor them as well. So Dream World is honoring my mom alongside my grandparents and people from Andrew's family as well. And yeah, I'm really excited to be able to continue my family's legacy through how we will name our baby. Okay, last question. Oh, this is a big one. I guess this feeds into name ideas. Okay. The last question is, what is the gender? And if you know, how did you find out? I need to know everything. Okay, gender. This is a big topic for me. So, when my mom passed away in December of 2022, I had this immediate feeling of who is my mom with? And I know that sounds weird, but I think a big reason for a lot of my sadness and a lot of my grief was that she left so early and that I didn't want her to be alone. I wanted her to be with people that I loved. And I had lost a few loved ones before my mom, but it wasn't obvious to me who she was with. And if you know me, you know I love my mentors and I'm a little bit woo. And I've worked with a few energy healers over the years, one of them being Jessica Stone, who's based in Orange County in California, who I met when I lived in LA. And the other being Nikki Novo, who leads all of our meditations on the Form app. And I remember in January, a month after my mom died, I asked Jess if we could chat. And she was obviously in California. I lived in Texas at this point. So we hopped on a FaceTime. And my only question for her, typically when we would meet, it would be like a 2 to 3 hour session, deep dive in every facet of my life. But my only question for Jess this time around was, I need to know who my mom is with. And I need to know that she's okay. And I need to know that she's with someone that she loves. And I think it's because I knew my mom was so social and that she loved the family so much. And I just needed to know who she was with. And my wedding was coming up in April of that year. I just wanted to make sure that like she was going to be involved and that she had good company. And Jess immediately told me that my mom is with my future daughter. And I'm getting emotional. And that my future daughter is actually my mom's soulmate. and that they were going to our wedding together in matching purple dresses. And my mom's wedding gown had purple flowers on it that I reused for our Jewish ceremony when I rewore her dress. And there was no world that Jess would have known about the purple flowers. And it just hit me in a way where that was my truth. Like, it was something that I received so deeply and something that I absolutely felt during our wedding, and had so many signs of my mom being there and so present. And they were actually through the signs of butterflies. So after my wedding, I got myself a purple butterfly necklace that I wore every day for the first 2 years. And now I only wear on really special occasions and when I'm missing my mom. But yeah, it's something that I believe to be true. And in working also with Nikki Novo, I always asked her, I'm a pusher. Like, I like to know things. So a lot of people probably wouldn't want to know, but I would ask Nikki, how's my mom doing? Who's she with? And like, do you feel this presence of my future baby? And Nikki always confirmed, oh my goodness, your family has such strong female lineage. And for those of you who don't know, my great grandma passed away when she was 101 years old. And she actually gave birth to my grandma, my bubby, in a German work camp during the Holocaust as a Jewish woman. And my grandma was a badass. She was the strongest woman I know. And she passed away earlier this year in February. And my mom, oh my gosh, she had the most vibrant aura in the whole world. But something Nikki and I have worked through is that the women in my family, even though we've had such a strong female lineage, there's been a lot of cracks in a lot of their auras. And I've done so much work in going to Hoffman and going internal and doing so many things for myself and my future family to really cut that cord of the generational trauma. And I feel like I really did that this year, with Hoffman being that cherry on top. And when Andrew and I were ready to figure out the gender, which was a part of that NIPT test, I knew it was my truth and my intuition so deeply that I was going to have a baby girl. And Andrew and I knew that this was something we wanted to do in private. And I feel like we've shared a lot with our friends and family of, like, when we got engaged, all of our family was there at Terranea in Los Angeles where we got engaged, and we got to celebrate with all of them. And there's just been so many moments. Like, even when we found out we were pregnant, we immediately flew to New York and Florida to share the news with our family. So gender for us was something that we actually wanted to do really privately. And it's something that I definitely could not wait to find out. So we absolutely wanted to do it at home alone, not fancy, absolutely no photographer, no one else's energy there. So my assistant, Nicole, read the results, and she called a local bake shop and gave them the results. And we had that be the color of the icing in a cake. But I wanted to be a little different versus just putting the cup in the cake like we see on Instagram. We wanted Bagel and Lox to eat the cake. So we had this huge cake, y'all. It was like, I think it was 40 servings. It was huge. We sat outside with the cake. I put my phone on a tripod, forgot it was even there, and let Bagel and Lox go to town. And the funny part about this is Andrew's actually colorblind, so he mixes up a lot of colors. And he kept having these moments being like, oh my God, is that blue? Whoa, 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 like, what's going on? And Bagel and Lox weren't getting to the middle of the cake quickly enough. So we brought out a cake cutter and used a knife and opened it up and counted 3, 2, 1, and pulled that slice out and saw the prettiest shade of pink. And I mean, I'll truly, hand over heart, I have never felt more sure of anything in my life. I had never felt like my dreams were coming true in a deeper way before in my life. And Andrew and I both were just in absolute shock. We had no words, just tears. And all I remember being able to say was, "Oh my God, it's a girl, it's a girl, it's a girl. She's a girl. She's a girl. We're having a little baby girl." And it's just what I've always known to be true. And even going back to trust, of like so deeply trusting my intuition and feeling my mom so big, so big. And I just can't wait to have my daughter, our daughter. Andrew's going to be the cutest girl dad. I cannot wait to pour in to her life and just show up for her so deeply in so many ways. And I'm really proud of myself for doing so much of the work to heal so much of what my mom and I's relationship was, and to fully forgive my mom, to be stepping into motherhood and saying yes without carrying any baggage. And my dream came true. My dream came true. Baby girl Spalter will be here in April, and I'm the most grateful, blessed girl in the whole wide world. I love you guys. Thank you for sending in all of your questions and anything else. My DMs are always open. I'm sure we'll do more Q&As as my pregnancy continues. And just thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing your heart with me, your journey with me. I love you guys so much. And I'll see you in the next episode.